They mocked her tattoo. They laughed at her age, and then the general showed his tattoo, and the whole bar went silent. Welcome to Black Journey 101, where real stories meet powerful life lessons. If you believe that respect lasts longer than arrogance, hit subscribe and listen closely. Because tonight's story will remind you, the quietest person in the room often has the loudest legacy. Murphy's Bar sat a few blocks from the naval base, the kind of place where uniforms, laughter, and ego mixed freely on a Friday night. At one table sat two young Navy SEALs, Jake Morrison and Tony Castanos, riding high on pride and beer. At the far end of the counter sat Kesha Williams, 35, calm, composed, whiskey in hand. On her forearm, an eagle tattoo, and sharp, intricate, and unlike any military insignia they'd ever seen. "Hey, waitress, another round." Morrison yelled, loud and sure of himself. Kesha didn't move. She just stirred her drink, watching the ice melt slowly. Tony leaned in, whispering, "Look at that tattoo. What even is that?" Morrison smirked, swaggering toward her. "Ma'am, nice tattoo. Which unit is that from?" "Never seen it before." Silence. Kesha took another sip. "Come on," he pushed. "Don't tell me it's one of those fake ones people get to look tough." That's when she turned. Calm eyes, quiet power. "You think I didn't serve?" she asked evenly. Morrison chuckled. "Trust me, I know all the units. 6 years as a SEAL. I've been places you've never even heard of. That symbol doesn't exist." Kesha slowly rolled her sleeve higher, revealing the full tattoo. It wasn't just an eagle. It was a code marked by 13 feathers, combat wings, and symbols that spoke of operations never listed on any record. The older veterans nearby exchanged looks. Something about it felt real. Tony frowned. Morrison laughed. "Anybody can learn that stuff online." Kesha's quiet laugh chilled the room. "True, but the internet won't explain this." She pulled a small, faded photo from her wallet. 5 people in unmarked uniforms, standing in front of unfamiliar equipment. Kesha at the center, younger but with the same unwavering eyes. "Afghanistan. 2009, she said softly, "except officially none of us were there. And that equipment didn't exist yet." Tony's smirk faded. Morrison sneered. "Photoshop." Something in her expression shifted. "You think I need Photoshop?" she said, standing up slowly. Her presence filled the room, balanced, controlled, dangerous. "You learned how to be a soldier," she said, voice calm. "Some of us were born warriors." "Fine," Morrison said, crossing his arms. "Prove it." Kesha nodded. "Call your base. Ask for Commander Richards. Tell him you're with Kesha Williams." The name hit him like a punch. "How do you know my CO?" he demanded. "Try it," she said. He dialed, hands trembling slightly. "Commander Richards," a stern voice answered. "Sir, it's Sergeant Morrison. I'm at Murphy's Bar with a civilian. She claims she knows you. Name's Kesha Williams." Then a voice that cut like steel. "Are you confronting Kesha Williams in a bar, Sergeant?" The entire room froze. "Put her on now." Kesha took the phone and stepped away. The older veterans exchanged uneasy looks. One leaned toward the young SEALs. "You have no idea who you're talking to, do you?" "I never met her, but I've heard the stories. The kind that don't make reports. The kind that keep generals awake." Morrison's phone buzzed. A text. "Your superiors have been informed. Prepare for consequences." Tony's face went pale. Minutes later, headlights flashed through the bar windows. 3 military vehicles stopped outside. The door opened. Commander Richards, Colonel Martinez, and Major Thompson walked in with grim faces. Boots hit wood. Richards stepped forward, voice sharp as a blade. "You two have just made the biggest mistake of your careers." Then he turned, and to everyone's shock, stood at attention. "Colonel Williams," he said, his voice filled with respect. And the entire bar fell silent. "This woman," he continued, facing Morrison and Tony, "is Colonel Kesha Williams, former commander of a unit so classified it doesn't officially exist. For 15 years, she led missions that saved thousands of American lives. Missions whose success changed the course of history. That tattoo you mocked? It represents 5 impossible missions, all completed under her command." Morrison's legs nearly gave out. Tony stared at the floor. Colonel Martinez stepped forward. "Both of you are suspended pending investigation." But Kesha lifted a hand. "No, they don't need punishment. They need education." 6 months later, a new elite program began, Operation Humility. Wake up at 4:30. Physical endurance by dawn. Afternoon spent studying leadership, discipline, and respect. And under General Kesha Williams, yes, General, they learned what true power looked like. Strength, she told her trainees, is what you show. But power is what you don't have to prove. Morrison repeated the words with sincerity this time, his arrogance gone, replaced by humility. Tony led workshops on unconscious bias across the country, teaching others the same lesson. At Murphy's Bar, a new plaque hung on the wall. Establishment of Honor, General Kesha Williams. The eagle tattoo they once mocked had become a national symbol of excellence and discipline. They tried to humiliate her. In the end, they were humbled by their own lack of understanding. Because real power doesn't raise its voice, it simply shows its truth. That night didn't end their careers. It reshaped them. Not through punishment, but through purpose. Kesha didn't demand an apology, and she demanded growth. And that's the kind of leadership that never fades. So, if you've ever been underestimated because of your age, your skin, or your silence, remember this. You don't have to prove your worth. Just keep doing the work, because when the time comes, your truth will speak louder than their doubts. If this story moved you, subscribe to Black Journeys 101 for more true life lessons about respect, resilience, and justice. Comment below, have you ever been underestimated? And share this story to remind others that dignity